All right, we're going to continue this football happy hour with our Jonathan Jones. Now, JJ, how would you categorize Tua entering year 3?
Well, listen, I think the best that we can see of Tua when he's healthy is sort of a game manager. And I know that that is a term that a lot of people think is almost a football pejorative. It's not. You can win with a game manager, right? Jimmy Garoppolo isn't a superstar, and he was up by double digits on the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl before they lost it. You can actually win with a healthy game manager, and that's what I think Mike McDaniel wants to see out of Tua Tagovailoa here in his 3rd season in the NFL, their 1st season together. They want to see a guy who, okay, he's not going to take a whole lot of risks, a whole lot of chances, and so that means that you're going to be able to control the football. You believe in what you're building there with GM Chris Greer, and so as long as Tua doesn't make those fatal mistakes, as long as when you do need to hit the big home run type pass, he hits it, and he puts and allows the defense to be in not disadvantaged situations when they don't score on offense. I think all of those things would really, really show, frankly, a leap for Tua. And again, Jenny, I can't express this enough. He needs to stay healthy.
Yeah, health is obviously key in this. And you got to look at his first 2 seasons in the NFL. You have a defensive-minded coach in Brian Flores. So obviously with the new coaching staff, you got Tyreek Hill there. He's hoping to turn things around in year 3. We're going to get to those topics in a second. But back to Tua right now. What level of pressure do you think he's facing this season? Because obviously, you know, the pressure is on. He's got to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it's on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being, no pressure and 5 being the most pressure, I think it's pretty close to a 4. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, Mike McDaniel took this job believing in what he could do with this offense. More importantly, Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, hired Mike McDaniel to bring this offense into the 21st century. Well, if he can't get it done with Tua, is it the coach or is it the quarterback? Is it the quarterback that many people believe you shouldn't have drafted number 5 overall a couple of years ago, and instead you should have had Justin Herbert there sitting there, and he should be with the Miami Dolphins? That is always going to add pressure, and certainly last season added plenty of pressure there. When you continue to look at it, again, you have the health, and you've added Tyreek Hill, you have these weapons that are there, and it's an all-important year 3 for Tua. It's sort of like, hey, there are no more excuses anymore, and so because of all of that, I think the pressure is absolutely at a 4. Not that there is pressure that there would be a mid-season change necessarily. I think that Mike McDaniel is committed to Tua starting out and through the season. But as we have seen with so much quarterback movement in this NFL over the past couple of years, that after year 3, if this is the guy that we have seen for the better part of the past 2 years, the Miami Dolphins may very well decide to move forward and move on from him if that's the Tua that we get this year.
Yeah, it's funny how there's almost like this unspoken rule. Like you get 2 to 3 years to try to figure it out, and if not, you're out of there. And I mean, you think about Tua, he's been knocked for his size, his arm strength, but you look at what they've added this year in a player like Tyreek Hill. You also have your second-year speedster in Jalen Waddle. So what are your expectations for their offense, and particularly with Hill and Waddle?
Yeah, so listen, if you want to look at a Tyreek Hill and say how many receiving yards is he going to get, and you look at a Jalen Waddle and you wonder, okay, is he going to be able to repeat that 1,000-yard receiving season from last year? I think that Jalen Waddle can absolutely do that. I think that Waddle can be a 1,000-yard receiver. I just don't know that he's going to get it on as many receptions and targets. Remember, Jalen Waddle was getting targeted so much by Tua in that offense last season because they didn't really have a run game. So there was a lot of horizontal passing. Yes, Mike McDaniel is going to continue some of that, but hey, they got some dogs back there at the running back position, and they have fortified their offensive line, one that was very, very bad last season, one of the worst 3 in the NFL. And so I think that we can still see that production from Jalen Waddle, just not, I think we're going to see a higher yards per reception. Meanwhile, for Tyreek Hill, it's really, really hard for me to sit here and tell you that Tyreek Hill is going to have more receiving yards than he did in a season with Patrick Mahomes as his number 1 target when you have a young quarterback, a young wide receiver in Jalen Waddle. But even beyond that, the issue, and we kind of joked about it earlier, Tua doesn't have that strong of an arm. Patrick Mahomes is top 2 in the NFL in terms of how far he can throw the football, along with Josh Allen, and he may very well be number 1. I'm waiting on that skills competition, but Tua can't throw the football as far as Patrick Mahomes. That's just a fact. And so are we going to see the big home run hits with Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa like we saw in Kansas City? And then finally, they have Mike Gesicki, the franchise-tagged tight end. They have Cedrick Wilson over there, who they just got in free agency. And so those guys are going to get you somewhere between 600 and 800 receiving yards this upcoming season. Once you start adding all this up and you add in the swing passes to the running backs, you're telling me that Tua Tagovailoa is going to have more than 5,000 5,000 passing yards this year? I don't think so. So maybe the numbers are going to be a little bit lower than you would expect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you get, as you said, the comparison between Patrick Mahomes, you have a little bit of a different quarterback under center there. What about a questionable move that the Dolphins made this offseason? I have a feeling you're going to shock the world with this one.
I think maybe if you want to raise a question, it's Tyreek Hill. I mean, listen, there's no, okay, just what we talked about, right? We're talking about a Tyreek Hill in an offense with a limited quarterback when it comes to arm strength. I mean, Tyreek Hill's the guy who's going to blow by defenders. You want to play the too high coverage on him. Well, that's okay. My quarterback will still throw it farther than your deep safety. Well, I don't know that this quarterback can necessarily do that, but it's not just bringing on Tyreek Hill, because if it's as binary as are the Dolphins a better team with or without Tyreek Hill? They are certainly a better team with Tyreek Hill. But are they better suited and better positioned for their future by giving a 4-year record-breaking contract to a 28-year-old receiver who we only know can be successful with the greatest young quarterback in NFL history? It's obviously a gamble, and it may very well pay off for the Dolphins, and they will be better because of Tyreek Hill. But you can't, in the salary cap era, you can't just look at this and say, well, we have that player, they'll be better. We can't question that move. For the health of the overall team, that's why I question the move just a little bit when you consider what they gave up, what they gave him in a contract extension, and the quarterback he's paired with.
No, it makes total sense. I think Dolphins fans, though, the moment that happened, they were like, we finally have a chance, maybe. But who knows? Who knows? I totally see what you're saying there. What about an underrated offseason move by the Dolphins, something that people aren't talking about?
I'm going to keep you in the same position room, and I'm going to go with Cedrick Wilson. And this is a guy who, he played for the Dallas Cowboys, and so I think a lot of folks got to know him a little bit. But it was a sneaky good signing in free agency by the Miami Dolphins. A 3-year, $22.5 million contract. I think it was very fair for both sides. You have a guy who can be a solid number 3. I think at a worse team, he could be a probably low-end 2. He's a guy who was 600 receiving yards. He had 6 touchdowns last season for the Cowboys in the absence of Michael Gallup. Really kind of took over there. And one sort of thing that he can do that not a lot of wide receivers can do as well, he can sling the football. He's 5 for 5 for 111 passing yards in his career with the Dallas Cowboys. That includes a touchdown pass in there. And so you want to get sophisticated and funky with Mike McDaniel and his offense, put the ball in Cedrick Wilson's hands and let him throw it down the field once or twice.
Let him get funky. Yeah. In 3 seasons, Wilson recorded 67 receptions, 837 yards, 8 touchdowns. And when you think about it, you mentioned the Cowboys obviously there. You think about the group that was surrounding him there. So you're getting this really talented player that played in a strong offense. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. That's for sure. All right, we're going to move on to actual games now. So we still obviously have some time. But when you're looking at the overall Dolphins schedule, what stretch worries you the most?
Yeah, I'm worried about that week 14 to week 17 stretch because, listen, I don't know how great folks feel about the Miami Dolphins, but no matter what, you're looking at this team that they're going to have to finish strong in order to get into the postseason. And so we see that stretch right there where you're going to have to play the Chargers. And not only are you then going to have to turn around and play the Buffalo Bills, well, you're going to have to play in Buffalo. Then you get Green Bay. Then you have at New England. And these are difficult games, even if they were played on a neutral field. But what you have, and this is something that Tua talked about in sort of his exit interview last season, talking about how he needed to get better playing in inclement weather and conditions. Well, here you go, Tua. You get to play in December, heading into January in Buffalo and in New England, and got to have it divisional games. And so that is going to be a very, very tough test for this South Florida team. And again, you are playing against 4 teams that, would it surprise you if any of these 2 teams are in the Super Bowl? And so now you have 4 Super Bowl contenders that you're playing in tough conditions for 2 of them. Very difficult stretch for the Miami Dolphins.
I feel bad for whoever's on the sideline of those games. Now, with that stretch in mind, and that is not an easy stretch, give me your record prediction for the Dolphins for this season.
Gosh, I waffled back and forth on this. Are they an 8-9 team? Are they a 9-8 team? Is 9-8 going to get the job done in the AFC? Certainly, we look at it on paper and we say, well, I mean, probably not. However, the AFC can certainly beat up on everybody and on themselves, and maybe 9 wins get you in. All right, maybe not. So, listen, I want to have them right there at 8.5. If I have to pick right now, I'm going to say 8-9. They have a really tough opening stretch as well. When you look at their schedule, where they have the Patriots, the Ravens, the Bills, and the Bengals as well. And so I talked about that Week 14 stretch, but man, until they get that gimme in Week 5 against the Jets, that might be some tough sledding for them. So I look over there and I see a half win here, a full win there, and I can get up to 8.5. You want to tell me that they're going to win 9 games? That's fine. They win 10. That is a very, very successful season, no matter if they make the playoffs or not.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.